So, hope you enjoyed our random music. We're gonna start our Thursday reading book stream. We're gonna tone down a little bit those dance moves and stuff, because today we're gonna have to talk about the theory of durability. We're trying to make 8100 theme song. Ooh, I'm excited. Okay. Would be pretty cool, I guess. Although I wonder, because 8100 is supposed to be traditional, so I wonder what kind of feel it would give us remixing song like that. But I'm curious. So hi Yellow, hi Zybach, hi C3A, whoever else you're in the chat, welcome all the lurkers. So today, last week, what we did, don't expect anything good. Oh no, I'm expecting the best out of you, C3A. Good is not enough. So this was the durability theory, and what we did last week was talking about the Yagura. I barely remember what we did last week. Yagura, and then thinking about the issue points, how to protect it rather than create just castle. Perhaps, oh yes, we had the Takeda Shingen, your people are your castle type of thing. We talked about the rapid advancing silver that was changed into reclining silver if you use the opposite pawn push, so it didn't help us, and instead we had to move our silver forward very quickly. Then we talked about the central rook where Mino was destroyed in order to have better defenses against the knight jump. And finally, we talked about the Anaguma Rush and Anaguma being able to seal off Goddess quick attack. And then the Anaguma side, meaning Ibisha side first sealing off the attack and then castling. So it's about sealing off the attack. And I think we stopped around here where we will have the defensive power of the king. We will talk about the king being an important part of your defense. Yeah, so the defensive power of a king, that's the title of today's sub-chapter. Let me see how long it is. Yeah, relatively long, so maybe we're gonna do that. My voice is not working, let me get some water. Do you guys have any questions about the durability theory? Like anybody else came late, need some reminder about what we did so far? Everything okay? The tea is too hot. You faced a freedown on Shogi Club 24 yesterday. Who is the late Anaguma tactic very successfully? Ooh, that hurts. But hey, as we talked with Paul 2 days ago, first you understand the logic, right? Then you read. So here you understand the logic of what he did. You weren't surprised much, right? Oh, you outplayed him in endgame. Cool. Got entering king. I want to see that on Sunday, Yellow. I want to see that game on Sunday then. Or if we have time today, but we always struggle with time with these books reading. So maybe on Sunday. All right. Wake up. Today I have trouble waking up. Sometimes it's because of weather. Sometimes it's because I'm just lazy. So, hi Knights 4-5 gang, hi Kent. The power of the king, we have this position from the bishop exchange. Yeah. And as said in the chapter 3, the durability theory main point is that you want to defend the quick attack of the opponent or seal it off completely. Yeah. Up to here, we talked about deleting the issue point. as we talked about the deleting issue point as the main approach. And here, これは前者の意味は強い. I have no idea what it means. I mean, I know what it means, but I don't know what it means. What I said doesn't make sense. Yeah, I don't know what former they're talking about. It has the stronger meaning of the... It doesn't matter, really. We're talking about the issue point deletion. We talked about sealing move and we talk about defensive, it's fine. From now on, we have one more thing we can do to seal off. I think this is seal off, right? Where is my Jisha when I need it? Here it is. Keep off. Surpass, undo, excel, defy. I'm gonna keep talking that it's seal off because it sounds cooler to me in English. But it could be something else. So we were gonna find out today if my translation was correct. We're gonna talk about that perspective or that way of thinking, how to seal off the move as one more option that we have. And the most important key piece in that way of thinking is the king. Ooh. As you know, if your king is taken in shogi, you're gonna lose. So it's extremely important to take into consideration defending that king. And this is why we came up with the castles, right? But in modern shogi, to level up your defensive power of your own camp, there was a lot of cases where the king is used as a factor or like a part of the defense. So let's see an example. Now I'm excited. See, oh, you didn't miss it. We just started. This is the first page we're reading. Don't worry. Yellow says, I think I get entering king a lot more frequently because Mifa taught me a lot about protecting my king. I got it twice in the last month, and before that I only got one entering king in 6 months. It feels good, doesn't it? Entering king. It's like, yeah, well, you destroyed my castle, but I can imagine this scenario, yeah, the castle on fire on the hill, people shouting, ah! And the king just on a lonely donkey, like going away. Yep, I shall rebuild my kingdom somewhere else, survive, and get my revenge. It's how it feels good. Although you just killed all of your army, yeah, the king is what makes the kingdom, right, in this case. So, 2017 game from the Kisei tournament. Itodani versus Sato. So this is the example of using king as a key piece in defense. Kakuwari no Japan in the bishop exchange opening phase. Gote is like changing its shape. Nagaki ni watatte. I think it means like quite long or like slowly, not sure. It doesn't matter, but for a long time, yeah. Nagaki ni wataru. Long standing. But from Kyoima. It's another. Nowadays, yeah. How do you read it? Sakon. Okay, Sakon ni de wa. Nowadays, you have no professional player that would use this type of approach. Why? It's because now they can push the 2-5 pawn, the silver will come here, and the knight will come to 4-5. And as we know, that's the immediate prompt efficiency theory. So they will fall into chaos. It's funny because they say the verb, but they don't see the continuation of that word. So basically, this position will fail, as we said on the page 30. And therefore, because of this engagement, Gote will be quite unhappy. And that is because his king is not actually helping with the defenses. All right? So the reason why Gotha is failing is because king is useless. Gotcha. As an effect, the 4-1 king shape is not very durable against the engagement 4-5 knight. And there, and in modern times, as we previously mentioned, 4-2 king coming closer to this shape. Okay, sorry. The shape of this king that comes up is trending one. In case of 4-5 knight, the silver can go to 2-2, defending. And now we can see that king is, helping to defend this square, for example, yeah? So the king is very important defensive piece. The king is on the second row. And because of that, there is no 7-1 bishop drop, because the gold is protecting there. And therefore, the defensive power of Gotha's camp is huge. And therefore, the knight jump is... I think what it means, I cannot think of the correct translation, but it seems like this knight is an overplay, basically. So crap is bad. Yes, because... Well, he showed us the exact variation with the silver going up. But speaking of the logic of the situation, is because they're going for the prompt efficiency theory, and we're not considering the durability theory. So we have to consider the durability theory and prepare for that exact attack by putting king in the proper spot, kind of. Here, there is 7-1 square that's open. The king is not helping to defend either this square or that square. Sorry. We saw what's going to happen in the previous chapters. There will be a very harsh attack that we're gonna lose some pieces, but we're gonna be happy with our piece activity as sent, and therefore we're gonna be advantageous. All right. Oof. Piece of water. All right. If the king is a piece that's being targeted, then it's a kind of weird Japanese sentence. Okay, so the theory is that we want to keep the king as far away as from the battlefield because we want to keep it safe. So in the position 3, king 3-1, it doesn't look like a bad move, right? Because we keep the king away from the battlefield. But in that case, 3-5 pawn push, which is here, this move will become successful for center. Speaking from the result of the situation, the king moving back move is the bad one, yeah? He's the one that caused this situation, that caused this move to be our failure. So this is the basic of the bishop exchange shape, basic shape. Let's try to find the best move in this position, they're saying, for Gote. So maybe we can think a little bit about this position. The answer will be probably on the next page or something. So again, it will be something protecting against the knight, I think. A 2018 game, another example of the same. Yeah, that's the position. In the Kifu, what was played instead was... no, in this position what was played is 4/4 pawn. Wait, that's confusing. In this position, they push this pawn, but instead taking the pawn is natural. If this move would be fine enough, then this push would become an impossible attack. But the top professionals, Toyoshima in particular, but he didn't play that, so naturally there is some reason behind it. Toyoshima is the gote, so he didn't take it. If you take it, then the knight jump, silver going up, 7/5 pawn, and it becomes dangerous. So it would become this position, where the knight's head is being attacked here, and center has a very nice attack. I think we covered similar position in our BX book study months ago, so I'm not gonna be too detailed about it. Basically, center develop their knight and they're happy, and on top of that they will be attacking the head of that knight, so they will have the lead in this position, however small, but on pro level it's going to matter. Yeah, I know, right, yellow? Yeah, it feels weird. Remember that this theory only applies to not only, but the castle simplification theory mostly applies to the vertical shogi rather than swinging rook versus static rook shogi. So mostly what we're talking about is bishop exchange, to be honest. Probably double swinging rook is going to work. It is a very difficult concept and we're just reading about it. Of course, there needs to be practice behind it. Maybe Kent will be able to explain it to us more. You've seen professionals? Yeah, but that's what they're saying, that it used to be the move considered, but it changed. Yeah. We can take a look, and this is why Fuji keeps his king in the middle. We can take a look at how Fuji plays the same position. He probably not gonna play that move, yeah. I'm not sure if you guys remember, we talked in the bishop exchange that Gote will be the one attacking first. It's going with efficiency theory. So the king going back is going to break that. Oh, king for 1. Oh, that's just waiting move, yeah. That's another... I think that's one step before that, kinda. A king 5-2, king for 1 type of waiting game, yeah? That was also played, yeah. Gote was waiting sometimes. But in this case, I don't think they can wait. Anyway, that's too complicated for my brain. We can read the Bishop Exchange book another day, try to remember exact variation. But the main point of this book is if Gote moves the king back, center has the option to attack. And as to answer the question why we cannot simply retake this pawn is because we arrive at this position. And if we take this pawn here, pawn sacrifice to 4 pawn takes, rook takes, gold up, rook goes back, pawn drop to 4, and then because of this exchange, we gain a pawn to drop at the knight's head. And therefore Gote manages to get a knight advantage, yeah? In order to avoid this variation, Toyoshima played the 4/4 pawn instead of taking this one pawn. He pushed this pawn, but Hisaki uses it. There is some feeling of something. The force style control. To control the force style. Yeah, as a result, no matter what he did, basically Sente had a winning shape. In the position 4. So the position 4 is a position that Gote should avoid having at all cost, basically. No matter what you do from this position, Sente was winning. So the conclusion was, we shouldn't allow this to happen. Therefore, the king move was bad. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah, so therefore the king move is bad. As a result, in not result, the theory, logic. The logic is that it's very similar to variation 1. Where is variation 1? This one. Very similar to the previous one. Yeah, the crab castle example. The crab castle example. And it's very similar because the king is not really helping the defense forces. And so it means he's not efficient, right? You have this feeling, right, dear reader? Yes, the Gote's king came back, so the on-camp defense became lower. So in this particular game, what happened is after pawn drop, this pawn was pushed to retake the knight, but pawn promotion gold takes, and this knight can promote here, escaping. And you can clearly see now that because the king is on 3-1, this 5-3 square became undefended. How about pawn 4-4? Yeah, we're gonna probably arrive at that yellow. But yeah, it creates issue point. That was my thing as well. So they're gonna tell us in a second what's the proper way. But before that, hey, Sviredin. Welcome. So in this position, instead, we play not pawn 4-4 because that creates the issue point, I assume, yellow. King 5-2. King 7-9. King 4-4. We just move our king left and right. Now this explains a lot to us why we see, for example, in 2019, those weird king moves. It's all because of this 5-3 square that we want to protect. Now it all makes sense finally. So yeah, the cases of where the king is just waiting, more and more games are being played with this waiting move. Oh, okay, kanji. It's yeah, incomprehensible behavior. That because we're passing a lot of moves. But the most important is we're not lowering our defense by putting the king on the bottom row. So we're keeping our defenses. So I want you to notice that the king's position is always on the second row. So instead of king for 1, yeah, you keep the king on the second row, yellow. That's the point here. Yeah. But even though we say so, even if you keep the king here, it's kind of close to the enemy pieces. So in this position, actually, center would like to attack, for example, for 5 knight, silver to 2, 3-5, 3-5 pawn. But in that situation, we are actually taking the 3-5 pawn. As compared to before, yeah? So yeah, we now look at the center's point of view. Well, the king is close to us, so why don't we attack? But this time Gote is able to take this pawn. And we were targeting the 7-3 pawn before. This time we will be able to stop the attack as Gote, it seems. Because the king is protecting this square, yeah? The king is not in the bottom row, so the center is better protected. As an effect, the usage of the durability theory is rising, yeah. The king is protecting 5-3 square. The Gote will be able to... What? Ah, I see. So yes, this square will be under attack still, but Gote will be able to retake this knight for this knight. And on top of that, it will have the pawn advantage. And therefore, Gote will have a lot of enjoyment in this position. So let's see if on the variation, we're missing this variation. So from this position, pawn to 4, pawn takes 7, 5 pawn, pawn takes, rook takes 2, 4, silver goes up, rook goes down, pawn drop to 2, 4 to protect the silver's head. They drop the pawn in front of the knight, but then we push the 4-4 pawn, and as they promote, they retake. You can see that this time this knight cannot promote. So Gote is able to retake it. We have 3 pawns in hand. It's quite nice situation for Gote. Yeah, this side also looks quite defended right now. So now we have a little bit of repetition about... in this example, you clearly see that our calm defensive power is higher because the king is standing in the front lines. I think it means something like that. Okay, it's vanguarding the position, preparing for the opponent's attack. This type of thinking recently has infiltrated the shogi world. I don't know, let's translate it like that. Of course, the king is the king's defense is the shogi's ironclad rule, but no, okay. So the ironclad rule is defend the king, yeah, of shogi, but in modern shogi it kind of changed to, instead of defend the king, defend with king. Yeah, so it changed. So the king is now part of the defenses, and therefore a new concept of the durability theory was born. Okay, not the king, defend the king, no, defend with king. Somebody make a meme out of it. And the technique of defending with the king is used in other defenses, not only against 4-5 knight. In position 10, Gote played 6-5 pawn, pawn takes, silver takes. And you can see that Gote is attacking. That's because they go with the theory of Kira theory, so attack is the justice, the proper way. And in this position, if we were to take the silver, knight takes, this silver comes to 6-6, and there's a silver drop to 4-7 in front of the gold, actually. It looks like we're in trouble, but instead of taking that silver, we can move the king to 5-8. This is a very strong defensive move. So yeah, taking the silver again, allow them to activate the knight and attack this shape by the bishop drop to 3-8. Instead of taking the silver, we'll move the king, defending it, defending this important square here. It seems like it's moving away from the castle, right? But it is defending the 4-7 silver drop. And with using the king's power, you're defending your weak point of your own camp. Yeah, that's the main point here. The king is running away from its own castle, but the whole camp is safe, so there is no special problem about that. Next, the rook to 6-9 is possible. It's quite enjoyable for Sente. And therefore, this goddess attack over here is considered a little bit not good for them. So the answer for this move, guys, is to move your king here. And that's good for Sente. Yeah, the king cannot be lazy anymore. The king needs to hard work. King is part of the defense right now. And in the position 12, Sente has dropped the 7 for silver, trying to promote it to 6-3. Gote looks like they kept the king in the central position, Igyoku. And this is the result of the immediate prompt efficiency theory, right? So now the question is, how do we defend this square? As Gote. If you were to use a very solid move, you would drop the 5 to silver. But the problem is we're investing the pieces that we have in hand, right? So we would like to use the silver somewhere else than in defense, yeah? The next move we could try is the 5-3 gold, but then the head of the bishop becomes unprotected. So instead, we're gonna use our lazy king and put him on 5-2. And as we talked, this deletes the problem that we had. So the problem of misusing the silver and the problem of bishop's head, they're both taken care of. So Gote is quite sufficient in this position. So the king isn't actually inside the castle, and it's used on a defensive piece. This type of play is a little bit risky. But actually, king has more squares to move than the gold and the silver, right? Like he has 2 more squares to move than the gold and 3 more squares than the silver, right? You guys know. 8 squares around him, very strong piece. It can move very widely, so kanji, 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 kanji. All right, great. So it has a powerful, it has the greatest defensive power out of them all, yeah? Because naturally it has the greatest movement ability. So it's quite a good method, tactic that we have, right? So again, the king is outside the castle, but it's controlling the center and on camp gaps or the weaknesses disappeared. That's quite a weird concept, isn't it? Shogi is becoming more complex as we go. Not only you have to learn all the castles, then you have to learn that castles actually don't matter. It's all becoming difficult to explain to beginner players. Shogi is evolving, eh? 2017, the Rio match. Not the Rio match, the final tournament, kinda. The challenger designing tournament, let's call it. You have Fuji Sota for Dan, who's Gote, and Sasaki Yuki 5 Dan on the bottom. King is the most powerful defensive piece. I can already hear the future screaming of Shogi Harbour kings as they watch us reading those suicidal ideas with abject horror. Yeah, I mean, Mif already knew that, right? This is why he named himself Escape Artist, so it's just something we have to learn. Hidechi might be shouting in the past, like, no! But my friend who's really fan of Shogi, he might be like, no! Because he loves those old-style Shogi with the castling and stuff. But we have to evolve as Shogi players. We have to understand what's going on. Rip Hidechi, yeah. So yeah, our defense durability possibility will go higher once we use the king in the defense. We can continue fighting even if we're heavily broken. Okay, so even though translation, brain turned off for a second. So even if the conditions are severe, we can continue fighting without our camp being broken, thanks to that. So the enemy's attack will be easier to deal with. Copium. The enemy's attack will be easier to deal with. At the same time, Rabio. We'll be able to choose the way we can attack. Something like this. I'm not really understanding this sentence. Maybe we have option to like start the attack and defend the attack. Like sounds like a balanced thing, but in the position 14, let's see an example. In the position 14, a 7-6 pawn is being targeted. It looks difficult for Gote to countermeasure it, but in the game, 2-4 pawn takes, rook takes, the pawn is taken, and this pawn is taken. So we arrive at this position. Both sides are attacking. Sente is one move behind to take this pawn. But next we're threatening to take the tutu bishop and promote our rook. So we keep the initiative, kinda. And that's the result because our king is here helping with the defending of this gold. Not sure if you guys realized. If the king was in the center, they had the option to promote their bishop. But because the king is here, we have the option to promote the bishop and they don't. So this is one of the good shape examples of how we can use the king as a counter attack, actually. Yeah. King being in the right position at the right time allows us to counter attack. It's kind of weird though. They're kind of weird. The 3/3 bishop will be played, defending, but then center will have the turn. 8 to pawn drop, knight will jump away. This knight will jump. And therefore, because this knight is more active than this knight, center will be better. It's quite a difficult position, but generally speaking, center kept the initiative and it's gonna have a better knight development, thanks to the king position. All right, so we have a little bit of diagrams time. All right, let's go diagrams. Durability theory, prompt efficiency theory, and we know what it means, right? This is the common area of those two circles. So the common area of this circles is castle simplification plus defending with the king equals perfection. Chemistry. Well, good. What is this? Fellow, mutually good. Good compatibility. All right, compatibility. All right, that's a weird mathematical thing. But yeah, because we don't have a good castle, actually using king in the defense makes sense, yeah? So the durability theory is a defensive concept. So so we might be a little bit bafflement by the fact that we actually talked about the attacking as well. So let's feed the holes. The prompt efficiency theory, the main point was to simplify the castle. One of the main points was to simplify the castle. Thanks to that, we were able to speed up our attack at the cost of the moves to create a castle. But because of that, we don't have time to castle our king deeply. As a result, the king's defensive... We're not thinking about defending the king, but defending with king. So our battle formation changed, yeah? No castle, not putting king in the castle, therefore defending with the king on the other side kind of happens. And this is really similar to what we've presented in examples before. Durability theory is about deleting the issue points. And therefore it's opposing the prompt efficiency theory using that. But using the king in the defense is actually very similar to the prompt efficiency theory as well. They both will be using that fact to their advantage. So yeah, they both basically will have that point inside of them, as we noticed. Unconsciously we noticed that, right? Yeah, the Miki Gyoku, yeah. But that's why it came, yeah? Why it's there. Vendetta against castles. Well, the Yagura finished, right? We talked about it. Yagura finished. I always thought why they wanted the king on the second row was the rook could go under. Well, that's a side effect. But as we've seen in this example, I'm gonna actually scroll a little bit back. As we've seen here, the king affecting the middle of the board, this square in particular was very important, right? And yeah, the side effect is the rook can go here. And that's what the computer find out probably. How much do we have to go? Do I have to summarize? Okay, let's finish and then summarize. Wait, what? Where is it? Here. Okay, durability theory, prompt efficiency, king defending. And now we have another diagram, the durability theory. The characteristic point is to delete the issue point, to use the king in the defense, usage point, to not allow the fight to happen, to raise the durability of our castle, of our camp, and the target is having the ideal shape or have a stronger power in the quick games. Quick games meaning non-Anaguma games, yeah. So this is a quick castle. Will be very strong very quickly. If the game gets long, of course, it's not gonna work, but it's gonna be prompt efficiency theory. And here it's more about literally sinning off your opponent and surviving because you're happy with your shape. I would like to summarize what we learned about the durability theory. It's a concept that's concentrated on the defense. The target is to prepare against the opponent attack. It's a theory that's directly opposing the prompt efficiency theory, but I have trouble understanding because it sounds to me like the previous sentence. Our own durability theory using with the prompt efficiency. Shikake was... Okay, I don't understand the verb, I guess. Multiply, crossbreed. So they're basically doing this, yeah? They're crossing each other. As we've shown on the previous diagram. The theory is... The characteristic is to delete the issue point and to use the king in the defense. But the target of those tactics is different, so be careful to not get confused. As a general rule, the issue point deletion, we want to target the ideal shape. Yeah, that means ideal shape. Ideal shape, yeah. But using the king in defense is to become stronger against the quick attack. All right, so this is the important point, basically. This theory has two phases. We can approach it two different ways. Yeah. It's a very complex thing. I don't understand it properly, but my feeling is that either we keep our castle low with the king helping the defense, or we not allow the opponent attack at all if we can, having the ideal shape. We have two options. We cannot mix them both together. Yeah, for long game it is unfavorable, but we are doing this low shape because our opponent is also using the efficiency theory. So they also will have the wrong shape. They're also going for quick game. We are all in the quick game theory right now. Why? Because Yagura has finished, yeah? We said that Yagura will die to the prompt efficiency theory. So because the enemy is using the prompt efficiency theory, we have to choose one of those two cards that we have. sealing off that attack, avoiding the issue point, or making a turtle shell using our king in defense, forcing him to work for us. Those are our options. So the first point will be about not having fight, and the other will be about how to fight. So you can see that their characteristic is totally opposite, and he shouldn't use them both at the same time. That's what I understand from this sentence, but... So, in order to delete the issue point, the fight won't happen. And therefore, we have no need to use the king as the defensive piece, basically. So this is an example, deleting the issue pattern. The fight doesn't happen, so the king is on the bottom row. Later, you're able to create Yagura Castle. Yeah, we're safe enough, basically. Next, as the opposite side, in case where we cannot delete the issue point, we have to use, okay, we cannot delete the issue point and the fight is starting. We have to use the king as a defensive piece to raise the durability of our camp. In this example, okay, that's another thing. So this is the example. Let's use the king in the defense pattern. It's important for us to... Okay, so this isn't the seal off in the end. So it's to deny the opponent's attack, yeah? Deny. To endure. All right, let's keep the word endure. So we have to endure the enemy's attack, and therefore using the king in the defense, using his as a worker, will raise our defenses. Yeah. So we guys feel the difference between those two situations, right? We have the king on the bottom because there is no danger, immediate danger. We sealed off their attack on the 8-6 file using our bishop. And here they are attacking strongly. This is our weak point. We use the king to help with that weak point. So we're trying to endure here. And this is why, even though we say it as a durability theory, there are actually two different factors to it. Depending on the situation, try to use the appropriate one. And here we have the philosophical question. By the way, why do we have to use the durability theory? You would like to touch this topic. As we talked in the second chapter, we're trying to get the fastest possible win using the prompt efficiency theory. And that's the most optimal way, yeah? There is no issue with that. And if both sides will use the relativity theory, the first chapter that we read, the relativity theory, as a result, both sides will use it. Naruto mo, Naruto. Because of that, because both sides use the relativity theory, it's going to be balanced, and the durability theory won't be necessary. But because, okay, so he's kind of summarizing everything, yeah? He's summarizing everything. So we started with relativity theory, where we talked that Gote will be one move behind, and therefore they had to use something else. Therefore, they changed the relativity theory into speed battle, resulting in the efficiency theory. And therefore, we had to come up with the durability theory. We couldn't counter the efficiency theory with the relativity theory because we would just fall into the trap. So we had to come up with the durability theory. Especially if you're Gote, you should be aware of this logical path. Yeah? There are some examples here. This is example where Gote was trying to attack, but actually it's not going well. So instead, they're using the durability theory. Also defending the 4/5 knight at the same time. So it's kind of a weird example, but knowing how Shogi works, I wouldn't be surprised if it turned out that relativity theory can counter durability theory. Yeah. Shogi research. Oh, yeah. Well, here we are at this very amazing triangle, yellow, that might be saying what you're saying. This is the relativity theory, this is the prompt efficiency theory, and this is the durability theory. And what you're talking is about this arrow, so probably you're right. Okay, so the durability theory, if you use it, the efficiency theory, you will be able to kanji. You'll be able to treat relief, soften the prompt theory, but the situation become harder to understand. Please remember the first chapter talk. In Genzai, in modern shogi, the shape, we're trying to use the relativity theory to make this similar shape, but because just doing that, we weren't able to take the advantage. We started using the prompt efficiency theory to be better, and it was good. But against that, we used the durability theory. Because of that, the engagement became more difficult. And we're concentrating on our camp preparation. So the durability theory will, if both two durability theories will face each other, or if you face against durability theory, actually arrive at the relativity theory. Scientific paper. Well, you could think of it like that. Yeah, we're using the word theory, but it's a simple book speaking about shogi theories in like a... It's a very complex book, yeah. This is why we like it. In the next chapter, we will meet Migara. We're gonna have a theory that's gonna avoid this triangle. Three-way deadlock. Alright, so we arrive at the deadlock, kinda. I have a feeling that shogi masters of yesteryear, having cumulatively spent many times using relativity theory, have already explored the ground a lot, but it seems that efficiency and durability theory are much newer inventions, so there is a lot of ground to explore. Well, those examples from the last chapter were from 2 years ago. So I guess they had more time to explore it. Well, the problem with Yokufudori is that it's prompt theory all the way. I don't think you can stop your opponent's shape. Unless you use the king in defense, then yes, I would assume so. Alright, so this is about Shogi Softo. This is like a column that we never read because it's difficult to translate for me. This is the normal Japanese. This is like a story, so we're just avoiding it. It's about computers being able to read moves that people were thinking they're impossible. Basically, computers have a lot of influence over all those changes. That's also a fact. Ew. Well, but this is yellow. This is where we come from. Yeah. All right. So the next chapter will be called the mobility theory. All right. So I think we should keep it for the next week again, because that's a lot of information we just took in. We can simply look what it means. So it will be a new weapon to run away from the relativity theory. All right, so let me summarize what we did in the whole durability chapter. All of it, so the 2 weeks that we did it. So the durability theory was about the issue point, avoiding, and countering the rapid advancing silver, rather than direct approach that would recline the silver and continue attack. It was about, again, deleting the issue point at the cost of our own castle, in fact. We had the central rook, we had the versus Anaguma. And Anaguma tried to seal off the issue point as well. And then we tried the other approach, which was enduring. Enduring was the option where we couldn't seal off the point and we had to fight the actual battle. In order to endure better, we started using the king as a defensive piece. To use the king as a defensive piece, it was better to use it on the second row to control the center, because the knight is affecting there, the 4-5 knight. We also had the example where Sente was defending the goddess attack by moving the king to the right side away from the castle in order to defend the 4-7 silver drop here. And then we had an example of a different type of game, Nyoko Fudori, where the king being at the proper position actually allows us to counter later on, being one move faster later on. So king had a huge role in the middle game as well. We learned that both of these theory, efficiency theory and the durability theory, have a similar way of thinking. And we learned that durability theory has those two ways of thinking. Whenever it can stop the fight or fight better with the king. We had some examples. And as a result, we realized that if one side uses the durability theory, we kind of arrived at the relativity theory. Because they were attacking, they cannot attack anymore. We have to both start taking care of our camp again, answering our moves in a relative way, arriving at relativity theory. Therefore, Sente was in trouble again. And we again wanna avoid this deadly circle, yeah? So it seems to me like Sente will be in trouble again. And after that, we will have the mobility theory. Alright. Chat, any questions? Everything good? I know we streamed only for 1 hour today, but I think this conclusion is very important and we shouldn't jump to the next chapter without like considering it in our minds first. Yeah, it's really mind-breaking. I can just read maybe what is the mobility theory, perhaps. It's about the piece efficiency once more, but it's about turning that new gear like in engine, so going even further ahead. I'm not gonna make it confusing, I guess. It's gonna be another chapter with difficult topics, so we're gonna do that. It will be our new weapon, it says. Because of the circle? Oh. Because he never uses relativity theory, yeah. Which one does he use then? The efficiency one? If not durability. Oh. You always play like durability. I think he likes durability most. Yeah, so next week you're gonna learn how to run away from that cycle, eh? I mean, I'm lying because we all know how this book works. We all know that there's more chapters to read. That after one theory there will be another. But we're halfway through. So we will have the mobility thing. We'll have the safety thing. We'll have the... what is this? That's a different kanji than I copied, isn't it? Locality theory. And we will have the changing shape theory. So convertibility. So Mifa probably knows all of them by maybe not as a theory, but as a feeling. We're gonna learn it as a theory first. Yeah, it does seem like that. You wanna seal off the enemy's attack. And if you cannot, you have to use the king in defense. That definitely feels like handicap shogi. You wanna try the efficiency theory against Mifa? Try it. Try it. Yeah, sure, Yellow. Try it. But remember that durability counters the efficiency, right? So just keep that in mind. It's all about the right timing to attack. If he doesn't defend well, then you can break. If he does defend well, then you at worst you arrive at the relativity theory, right? So then you will need to reconsider. But first you can train those theories by arriving there. Yeah, we're in the circle, Yellow. There is no escape if you use them. No escape. Yeah, it's a vicious. Your mind will go guru in a circle because it's you cannot counter them. They all counter themselves. So you will need something new. Yeah. Next week. Wait, but next week is it Christmas already? No. Wait, next week is already Christmas. The next week's stream is not here. Oh no. What is Yellow gonna do? I'm reading this chapter trying to come up with some hint for you, but Oh, we arrive at really modern shogi in this chapter. Well, simply speaking, it's gonna be about the big piece efficiency. So making it all even better. There will be a lot about how to use the rook, how to use the bishop type of discussion, I feel. Power up. Yeah, really modern. Like I saw that position in modern shogi, so it's really, really. Now it will all make sense. Mobility and convertibility. They were next. Wait, what was it? Mobility, local fight, something like that. Localization, I'm not sure. Something about being local position on the board. So perhaps concentrating on that part of the board? We don't know yet. We talk about being solid and being wide and being trapped in, and about more difficult like endgame type of positions. The next one is quite exciting as well. All right. This is too difficult for me to explain in simple words, yellow, unfortunately. But it's gonna be quite interesting again. So we'll be, yeah, you see, we'll be escaping the triangle, it seems. So let me try to find a spoiler, perhaps, that will spoil us the whole book conclusion for yellow. Which year those games are from? 2019 still. Where somehow those are some complex stuff. Again, quite interesting how this person's brain, like how he came up with those theories, how his brain thinking about shogi. So this chapter is basically how to attack, kind of. So it seems more like meta game type of thing. And this is like the last part of the attacking phase, it seems. Yeah, a little bit of spoilers. If you have five or more pieces to attack, if you have less than 4 pieces to attack, stuff of thinking. So it's more about middle end game, I think, at this part. And this is the end of the book, I guess. So so we're gonna have many more interesting topics, not only the opening, but how to think about the position in general. This is also exciting. All right, yeah, no more spoilers. Thank you, Yellow. I'm glad you enjoyed and you understand. I think this book is really valuable to our English community because we don't have many. How do you say? We don't have much material in English, right? And this book seems to be really analyze stuff in depth and goes with modern shogi. It's really confusing to watch pro games recently without having this knowledge, so I hope it's gonna help you guys. It's definitely helping myself as well. Next week I will be outside home, so I think we don't have the stream on Thursday. Probably Sunday the next weekend also will be cancelled. But yeah, Sunday Shogi and Saturday Chill stream are still online, and the chess stream on Tuesday is still online. That's gonna be the last stream before the Christmas break. So I'm gonna tell you Merry Christmas early on if you guys don't come to the Tuesday stream. Yeah, thank you for coming, and I will see you on our Discord. Bye bye.